Jefferson County Court Law number 2 is back in session. Next case is cause number 331032. Case is style of State of Texas versus Yalton Gallo. Is Mr. Yalton Gallo present in court?
He's sitting right outside.
Okay. For the record, is your name Yalton Gallo?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Gallo?
Pretty good so far, thank you.
That's
How
good,
you doing,
Mr.
sir?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Gallo. Mr. Gallo, you're present here with your attorney, Mr. Marvin Lewis. Attorney Lewis, how you doing?
Doing all right, Judge. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Attorney Lewis, what is your announcement in Mr. Gallo's case?
Judge, we received discovery, and this morning I did get a new offer from the state. I just need a little time to go over with my client. We can leave on the announcement document now.
How much time do you need?
Maybe 30 days.
Okay. Okay. To speak, Mr. Gallo, your case is going to be reset to March 16th. You can get your reset from your attorney. Once he'll sign the pad over there. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
You as well, sir.
And Mr. Lewis, I think you have another one. You can sign the pad so she can give you reset. The next case is cause number 329608. Is that Travante Marquise Martin?
Yes, sir. He's here.
Come on up. Mr. Martin, is your full name Travante Marquise Martin? Moten, you pronounce it Moten? Okay, how are you doing, Mr. Moten? That's good. Mr. Moten, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Marvin Lewis. Attorney Lewis, what's your announcement in Mr. Moten's case?
Judge, Mr. Moten's situation, he does have a felony pending that's finally been indicted. First setting was this morning. It's been reset now to April 12th.
It's April 12th?
April 12th.
You want to sit on the same day?
Same day, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Moten, your case is going to be reset to April 12th of 2022 along with your felony case. Your attorney is going to sign for your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Start. Next case is cause number 331036. Case of Solid State of Texas versus Wayne Paul Stark.
From the hall, Judge.
Ms. Bailey, would you please call the name of Wayne Paul Stark? Mr. Stark, is your full name Wayne Paul Stark?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stark, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Stark, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may put your hand down, Mr. Stark. How are you doing, Mr. Stark?
I'm doing fine, sir. And you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Stark, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about September 25th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of deadly conduct. Mr. Stark, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Stark, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Mr. Stark, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes. You're. Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stark, I have before me another document. This document is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment, is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Stark, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Stark, there are a set of initials, WS, on a line that is next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Stark, there is a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, Mr. Stark, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, there are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Stark, I have another document here. This document is titled Discovery Certification. And do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Stark, before you signed and initial all of these documents that I have just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Reynolds, go over this document with you?
Yes, sir, you did.
All these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor. There's no objections, Judge.
No objections. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Reynolds, you've advised that counsel, Mr. Stark. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None to my knowledge.
Mr. Stark, your attorney, Mr. Reynolds, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stark, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, the agreement is for 1 year deferred probation, a $250 fine, 24 hours of community service, drug and alcohol assessments. And in addition, the defendant has agreed to forfeit the weapon involved in this incident.
Mr. Stark, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During this probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $250 plus court costs, and the total fine and court costs is $602. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a year analysis fee of $15 each month, and you will be required to pay total monthly installments of $130. That is, the total amount you would have to pay each month while you're on probation is $130 per month. Will you be able to pay the $130 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 24 hours of community service. You'll have a drug and alcohol assessment. You would also adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. And as part of the plea bargain agreement, state will be requiring that you forfeit the weapon. I have before me a motion to forfeit in cause number 331036. Mr. Stark, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Stark, before you signed this document, did your attorney go over this document with you?
Yes, sir, you did.
And did you read and understand everything in this document?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stark, I will grant this motion to forfeit this weapon in cause number 331036 to the Port Neches Police Department. Okay, now, Mr. Stark, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir, I do.
And do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stark, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Stark, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not appear on your record as conviction, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. And you can talk to your attorney, Mr. Reynolds, about applying for a non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. Mr. Stark, would you please stand on the X in front of our court clerk and follow her directions? Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
You too, Your Honor.
Thank you.